Hey guys, it's Tiny Tom Logan back with another video for you, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Swiftech H20 Edge liquid cooling kit. And basically the reason why I got this in is I did a video recently, or a series of videos about basic water cooling. It was a basic water cooling guide. Now this is a 360mm kit, but it's actually a very easy to pick up and use 360mm kit for a beginner, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to do it. Kind of mix different options up for you, because essentially, as I'll show you in a bit, the reservoir, the radiator and the pump are all pretty much built in together. Like I said, I'm going to show you in a sec, and all you've got to do is run the tubes to your CPU heatsink. Everything comes in one box, well, apart from your distilled water. But yeah, I'm going to open the box now right in front of you so I can show you everything that's inside. I'm not going to do too much on the fitting because I have done a basic kit with basic video before, and I don't want to keep going over old ground. Essentially in the box you've got a it's an installation disc, but it's basically a guide disc in there for you. It comes with a set of written instructions as well. You've got what they call an extreme duty water block, but this is Swiftech Apogee block, and it's all kind of, I'll whiz it out quick so just so that you can have a look. But there's back plates in here and clips and thermal paste and brackets to hold it all down. And there you go, there's your CPU block. I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure that's a yeah, it looks like it's set up for 1366 already, which is what we'll be testing on. But there's your CPU block. Turn it around the right way so you can see it a bit better. Then you've got, now I'm going to be ripping all these things apart where I'm doing it in front of you, but I'm obviously going to be fitting this in a second. Now this is what they call a rad box, and basically what happens once I actually get it out of the bubble wrap, like I said, I'm doing this live on the camera, so right, there we go. Basically this little beauty is so that you can mount it on the back of your case over your 120mm fan, and then you can mount your radiator and balance, you know, basically have your radiator stood off the back of your case on this. And you've got a plate that you can pull out as well, depending on how you want to mount it and everything. But yeah, basically that's your rad box. And like I said, just go bolts on the back of your case or on the top of your case, depending on where you're going to put it. Then you can bolt the radiator onto it as well. Comes all the clips and fittings to be able to do that with. I mean, this kit really does come with everything. Well, pretty much everything. This is your, basically if you get, you shouldn't really use normal water, but if you get some distilled water, you can chuck this in there. This one's UV reactive, and it's got, well, what they're calling a heat transfer enhancer and a corrosion inhibitor as well. And it says to mix it with distilled water. The rest of the kit, you get a long section of hose. This is 1/2 inch hose, 1/2 inch internal diameter, 5/8 external diameter, and you can see that you've got a fair old bit of hose there. So there's that sorted. You get all the adapters and clips that you could possibly need for your fans, including some fan resistor cables, which is also a really nice touch. More fittings for radiators to fans to the radiators. There's some grommets in there for your case. There's also some more stands. This is what they're calling the alternate mount pack, so that you've also got that in there. What we're going to do now is actually get the main radiator assembly out so that I can show you this, because this is pretty much where it's at. Right, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop you off the tripod quickly because it'll be much easier for me to show you that way. I'll stand up as well so I can actually get out of it. Basically, you've got at the end a Swiftech DDC pump. I'm not sure what MCP, there it is, MCP-35X. Now as you can see, you've got the outlet here, that's the outlet for the pump, and obviously that's the radiator back in. Oh, it's even got in there, look, there you go. And then at the end of the radiator, you've also got the reservoir, which you can fill up on the end or on the top. Now that's basically, it depends which way you've got the kit set up orientated. So obviously you may have it that way, you may also have it like that way round, hanging off the back of your case. But as you can see, it comes with all the fans already, all your clips and everything already. All the fans already on. So essentially what you've generally got is a large 360mm Swiftech radiator, a Swiftech pump, and a reservoir built in to a single unit. So then all you have to do is run the hoses from your pump and here basically, so you've got the outlet and the inlet, attach it to your CPU block, and then pretty much away you go. So hopefully you can understand why I wanted to get this in for a review. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get start having a look at options on how to mount this to the R3, which is my static heatsink test case now, which I'm going to give this a buzz at this. May just have to lay it on the side, but hopefully I'm going to be able to fit it properly. But yeah, I'm gonna carry on with that. Right then guys, partial update. I was going to mount the rad box on this section of the case here, but when I did, I couldn't get the overhang at the back for the pump. I did think about mounting it at the back as well, pretty much the same kind of thing. It was quite difficult to be able to get hoses into the right places without them being covered up or needing millions of connectors. And what I wanted to do with this review is just mount it with the stuff that was in the box. Now I'm not a fan of having stuff on the outside of cases or anything like this. I like mine all super tidy. Now obviously you could bolt this pretty much straight into the top of a case that's got 360 mounts ready in it, but some people out there might not necessarily have the 360 case, want to upgrade to water cooling, want to give it a try. Do you know what I mean? Maybe just haven't got the money for a massive case with water cooling features. They may like their current one and just be wanting to upgrade. So this is just me trying to show you how you can do it if you want. It's not necessarily the way I would do it if it was my own personal rig. But with the rad box, basically what you do is you mount the base to the case, or wherever you're going to fit it. Mount the box bit to the radiator, and then it all kind of slides on. Now it's difficult to do it with one hand. Ooh, managed to do it. And then you can screw it in place with screws either side, and that locks it into place then. I've also turned the fans round so that they're now blowing out the top. I'm going to have the back of the case off so I can route all the cables and everything. Just for power, just to make it easier for this one. So bearing in mind, if you're going to be doing this with your own case, you're going to need to think about power and how you're going to do it tidily and stuff like that. And then basically I'm just going to have loops coming down from here, going in the side ports at the bottom. So we'll come down in the side ports and then into the CPU block. Nice and simple. So yeah, that's the a little kind of interim update. Next stage will be it all fitted. We'll have a look, and then we can start testing. Right then guys and girlies, we're all done. We're in the middle of some testing. You can see here ambient temperature is 21.5 degrees. First lot of testing as always, 1.25 volts, 4 gigahertz, 200 times 20. Prime's been running for ages now. Anyway, there's the temperatures. Now when I took my tests, I had 62, 57, 61, 57 giving us a 59.25 degrees average over all the 4 cores. If you minus the 21.5 degrees ambient temperature, that gives us a 37.75 degrees delta. Now, one thing I will say is these fans are all on 12 volts at the moment, which is why they are pretty loud. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to pop the fan resistor cables in that came with the kit, and then I'm going to run the test again, just so that we can have a low fan and a high fan, and we're going to do that with all the testing on this one today. But just while I've got you on while I've got the camera up, just show you it. You see, I've just gone for the easy option with fitting, but it's all in there. It's all done a good one. Anyway, I'm going to get these fan resistor cables on, let the system idle for a bit, and then rerun these tests for you. Right then, guys and girls, on to the low fan test. Ambient is 21.6, still at 4 gigahertz, still got prime running, yada yada yada. There's the temperatures. Now, when I took my temperatures, I had 66, 61, 65, 61. That gave me an average across all of the 4 cores of 63.25 degrees. Take away the 21.6 degrees ambient temperature, and that gives us a 41.65 degree delta temperature. Now, if I come up, really the loudest thing now is the pump. If we come over the fans, obviously you're going to get a bit of wind noise because they are blowing, but on low they are much quieter, much quieter. They're still moving a fair amount of air though. But seriously, the noisiest thing is the pump. I have had a fiddle with it to try and see whether there's anything I could do, but it does just seem quite noisy outside the case. Kind of annoyingly noisy, I have to say as well. It's kind of definitely the noisiest thing in the room at the moment. But obviously this is because it's outside the rig. Anyway, that's your results for 4 gigahertz at low fan speed. Next up, it's 4.2 gigahertz with the fans back on max again. Hey guys, there's the ambient, although when I took my results it was 20.9, but anyway. High speed fans, 4.2 gigahertz, 1.35 volts. Obviously running prime as usual. There's your temperatures. When I took my temperatures, I had 68, 64, 66, 62, giving us an average across the 4 cores of 65 degrees, minus the 20.9 ambient temperature, and that gives us 44.1 degrees delta temperature. As I said, that's with high speed fans. Now I'm going to chuck the fan speed reducers in and run all the tests again. Right guys, 21.4 degrees ambient temperature. We're now on low fans. As you can hear, the fans are off now, but you can just hear the pump. Still at 4.2 gigahertz, 1.35 volts. There's your temperatures. When I took my temperatures, I had 71, 67, 69, 65, giving us an average temperature across all 4 cores of 68 degrees. Take away the 21.4 degrees ambient temperature, and that gives us a delta temperature of 46.6 degrees. Remember, that's at 1.35 volts, 4.2 gigahertz, 1366,950. But now what I'm going to do, I'm going to do 4.4, or I may push a little bit higher. It's getting a bit late here at the moment. So I'm going to knock this off for today. Go and make myself a nice cup of tea and finish the rest of this video and testing tomorrow. Right then guys, ambient temperature is 20.7 degrees. We're now testing at 1.45 volts, 4.4 gigahertz, 200 times 22. Obviously prime is running as usual and has been for ages. Right, and there's our scores at the moment. Now, when I took my temperatures, I had 77, 73, 76, 71, giving me an average across all four cores of 74.25 degrees. If you minus the 20.7 ambient temperature, that gives us a delta temperature of 53.55. Now, what we need to remember is that this is with this fans on high speed, and I'm now going to run the test again but with the fans turned down, so we have some low speed tests. We'll see how we get on with it then. Right then guys, 4.4 gigahertz, low fans, ambient there you can see 21.7 degrees, 1.45 volts, 4.4 gigahertz, 200 times 22 as I said before. See prime has been running for ages. Right. When I took my temperatures, I had 82, 79, 81, 77. That gave us an ambient temperature across all four cores of an average temperature across all four cores of 79.75 degrees. Take away the ambient temperature of 21.7, and that gives us a 58.05 degree delta temperature. Now, that's the end of the testing for this, so it's time to get on with the conclusion. Right then guys, time to get this video wrapped up. It feels like it's taken me ages because I've recorded it over like several days really over the weekend. Obviously I've had the weekend off and things like that. But anyway, the conclusion. Price for the X20 or H20, sorry, 320 in the UK, it's coming in around the £250 mark. Some, you know, bit of fluctuation either way with some retailers, but Special Tech have got it for £255, for example. Now, this is quite a tough one because this is a great kit for a beginner because of the fact that you've only really got to attach a couple of hoses. The radiator has the reservoir and the pump all kind of built in as one unit. But that in itself also creates quite a few problems because if you have the radiator mounted inside the case, for example, then you're not going to be able to fill the reservoir up very easily. So you have to be undoing the fans or undoing the radiator to drop it out to be able to fill it up again should you need to. Also, if you've got it bolted in the roof, how do you know if your coolant's running low? Till you start seeing air going around, you're not really going to know. It's probably best for someone that's either got an area in the bottom of their case that they can fit the radiator so you can get easy access to like filling it and everything like that, or external mounting. But one of the problems again with external mounting, although it does come with a bracket, is getting all the cables inside because I didn't think that the cables, especially the fan cables, were long enough. If you were going to have it outside, you'd want to be able to route them nice and tidily and then have enough room to get them inside to at least try and get them somewhere hidden so that you've not just got this, you know, this bird's nest of cables in the bottom. Although the fans did seem to perform very well, did move a heck of a lot of air, the cables again for the fans were not braided, which is kind of becoming almost a norm with cables now, that we do kind of expect stuff to be braided. If you are going to be having this on the outside of your case, wouldn't it be nice to have had them so that they were braided and black, just so that you've not got that, again, that, you know, nasty mess of cables there to be done. For the few kind of, you know, I mean, it doesn't really cost a lot, or even just change the brand of fans that you're using so that they do come with braided cables, you know, when they first actually buy them. Something else that I wasn't too keen on was the pump, the Swiftech pump. It's pretty much the same as a Lang DDC Ultra with a different label on it, but the thing is with those pumps, they need damping very well to stop the motor noise resonating throughout your case or something, for example. And by bolting it to a radiator directly, the pump noise resonated throughout pretty much the whole of the radiator, where it's quite a thin metal, and it just amplified the noise of the pump to the point that when I had the fans down low, that the pump noise was insane. Now, if you've got a very well insulated case, you may not hear it so much. But I'd probably go as far as to say that if you had a very well insulated case, you'd then need a lot of rubber grommets or like damping material between the actual fans or the radiator and your case to then stop all those vibrations then being put into your case as well. So I think they need to make probably a rubber gasket to go between, or a bigger rubber gasket, because they'll have a rubber O-ring. I think they need a rubber gasket to go between the pump and the radiator to stop the noise then being forced down inside the radiator. Now, I did actually think at one point that the pump might have been faulty, and I have got some DDC Ultras floating about. So I changed the pump, and it was exactly the same. But yet, when I ran the original pump off of the rig in with just a mocked up loop, it was actually quiet. So it is the fact that it's just echoing, resonating all the noise down the side of the radiator. Now the price, £255. When you compare that to the actual performance, because I tested a £140 XSPC kit recently with a 360mm rad. Now that loop was actually, in some of the tests, 4.2 gigahertz for example, it was either 6 or 7 degrees cooler, as in the XSPC was. So the Swiftech is actually over £100 more expensive and was noticeably higher in temperatures than the XSPC kit. So when you're considering the fact that it's actually noisy, it's not performing as well, and it's considerably more expensive, it's making it fairly difficult for me to be able to find anything good to say about it, other than the fact that it is a very basic kit. One thing I would say is, if you're able to attach this to your case, then you'd be more than able to spend a little bit longer to put a better performing kit on your case as well, because I really do not see that this kit brings enough benefits to make up for its drawbacks. And to be quite honest with you, water cooling really isn't that hard. As long as you don't rush everything, you take your time, you check what you're doing, you can get some really good scores. And I really don't think it would be worth cutting or paying extra for this kit for the simplicity when it's really not that difficult in the first place. It's an amazing idea, really like this all-in-one radiator idea. But with the noise and the temperatures pretty much speak for themselves. I mean, we were looking at the closest it got to the XSPC kit was within 5 degrees. So it's 5 degrees warmer than the XSPC. It cost £100 more. Now I did try, just for the sake of argument, and run this with different configurations. I lent up the back of the case in case, do you know what I mean? Because people are always going to go, well, it's because you've put it there and it's because you've done that. So I moved it about a bit and the temperatures didn't change at all. So it's just one of those things that it really isn't performing that well. So yeah, it's one of those ones where I thought it was going to be a lot better than it was, especially where you've got a high class pump in it, you've got a big radiator, good branded water block. I really did expect more, and I've got to admit, guys, I didn't look at the price until about 5 minutes before I'd done the conclusion. and I've got to admit I am actually rather surprised how expensive it is, because I honestly thought it was going to be at least, and I do mean at least, £100 cheaper. So a difference in price of £100, especially considering everything that I've just said, really is quite surprising. So sadly, I'm not going to give it an award, because I really don't think it's earned it in any way. So it's a bit of a surprising one. I'm very surprised, actually. So my advice to you would be, if you're considering this and you found this video because of that, I would look at other kits. XSPC is one that I've had recently, and it's very good. You get everything in the box that you can need. It's much cheaper than this, and actually outperforms it as well. And it gives you many more options for upgrades at a later date as well. So yeah, a bit of a tough one, guys, and I really wasn't aware that it was going to end up this way either. Maybe it's a good reason that the video has been spread out a bit more. But yeah, it's a bit of a weird one, really. But anyway, with a bit of a funny ending for his video, this is Tiny Tom Logan with another video for you. Out.